You are listening to Adda, a Transfin podcast. These are 15-minute conversations to achieve a singular objective, that is, to intrigue, amuse, and nudge you into thinking a little deeper. Also listen in for some riveting icebreakers. Do subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google to get that nice little notification every time an episode goes live.
Hello everyone. Today we discuss two very interesting innovations. First, we talk about how the Bangalore Traffic Police is combating traffic rule violations with the help of mannequins. And then we talk about Ecosia, a search engine that plants trees while you browse the web. Hey Simi, how are you?
Not bad. I've been better, but yeah. What's up with you, Sarala?
I'm good, but then wait, you sound very dull and low. Why?
The Delhi traffic has been really, it's really getting to me. It takes me like about an hour to reach office in the morning. Going back home after such a long day takes me another hour or so. The metro is no good. I have to take the cab. It's just getting to me. Oh.
2 hours a day in traffic. But wait, I thought Delhi traffic is quite bearable, to be honest.
Okay. Why would you say that?
Well, to be honest, I am from Bangalore, so I could be coming from a biased point of view,
right?
Because as all of us know, Bangalore is clogged in traffic, every street and every road.
Right, Bangalore and Bombay. I think Bangalore, Bombay, Gurgaon. I think are the worst in India.
Yes,
right?
and Bangalore in particular, because Bangalore was a city built for around, I would say, around 10 lakh or so. But then today
10 lakh or so people.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
But then today it has a population of around over 80 lakh.
Whoa.
Yeah. So so you can just imagine the overdue, the over stress on the fragile, undeveloped infrastructure of my city. So the Bangalore Traffic Police is always on the lookout for different ways to ensure that everyone on the roads follow the rules.
Right.
This one very unique way that they have employed is to use traffic mannequins.
Traffic mannequins?
Mannequins, yes. So these are life-sized traffic policeman lookalikes.
Okay.
And then they are installed in every traffic intersection or traffic circle, basically.
Right.
And so it is to give the impression that a traffic policeman is there.
But do you already have like a dearth of policemen? Why mannequins? Why are they not real people there standing?
But then Bangalore is a city that needs around 7,000 traffic policemen. But then in reality, we have at least 2,000 less than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, to bridge that gap, I'm guessing that Bangalore is turning to mannequins.
Right. What's the idea basically of having mannequins installed?
So basically, if you're looking to break a traffic rule or a traffic law and you see that there is someone watching, then you are less likely to break any law.
Right. But see, once I see this mannequin and I know that it's a mannequin, like once I've distinguished it from a real policeman, it's likely that I could just rush through that light again.
That is true. But the thing is, so basically they want to overcome this loophole by doing two things. One is they keep shifting these fake policemen.
Oh, that's nice. That's
from
very smart.
So from every juncture, every few days or so. And second, every few days or so, these fake policemen are replaced with actual real life policemen. It's in a way playing tricks on your mind while ensuring that you follow the law.
Right. Yeah. Oh, very interesting that you mentioned that, like playing tricks with the mind. It just reminds me of this French philosopher I had read some time back. He's called Michel Foucault. And his path-breaking work called Discipline and Punish. It talks about how the modern state has eventually moved away from enforcing its authority to enforcing its authority physically to enforcing authority psychologically, right?
Okay.
So, he builds on this work on a British social worker called Jeremy Bentham. He talks about a structure called a panopticon.
I'm sorry, what?
A panopticon.
What is that?
It's basically a circular jail with a tower erected in the middle of it all. So the illusion here is when the cellmates who are housed at the periphery of the jail, they look at this structure, they get this, they think that there's a policeman, they are a group of policemen who are watching them constantly. Nevertheless, if they are there or not, it's like kind of a mind game. So they'll always be at their best behavior under the impression that someone is watching them, and they might be punished for that.
That's very, very similar to what the Bangalore Traffic Police is trying to do. So I'm guessing it's also quite similar to the philosophy behind a CCTV camera.
Oh yes.
So basically,
yes, absolutely. I mean, in fact, there's so many CCTV cameras now even installed on Delhi roads, and I mean, you get e-challans, all of it. But I mean, most of the times, I mean, apart from the e-challans actually being generated, even, I mean, not even on the roads, even in buildings and all public
everywhere,
places,
basically,
this constant fear or constant
awareness of being watched.
Yes, awareness of being watched is just, I mean, people are always at their best behavior that way. Right?
Best behavior. But I'm guessing that an argument could be made that it's actually not best behavior but just constricted behavior.
Yes. I mean, very smart. Actually, Foucault also makes that criticism. You know, it's actually how God works. I mean, this illusion of God per se, it's because, I mean, quote unquote illusion, saying that there's some supreme or greater authority who's watching over you, and would probably that there'd be like red points, black points system, right?
So basically, you have to always be good and do good and be at your best behavior, or else, you know.
So Foucault kind of makes that criticism as well against the entire theory, and says that people, when they're constrained, I mean, they're not naturally let to behave in a particular way. They're always constrained, and their instincts are curbed, basically.
As is your creativity, I'm guessing.
Oh yes.
And your individualism.
Yes.
Yeah, but then again, that would come to art and culture and all that stuff. But then when it comes to breaking laws, there can't be any creativity permitted.
No, they can't be. They can't be, right?
Of course.
But what Bangalore Police is doing here is very, very innovative. Do we have any other examples of how such things?
Yes. So in fact, there was this city in the US. I'm guessing it was Philadelphia.
Okay.
And so they painted 3D humps on the road.
3D humps on the road. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And there was also this other city in South America, Bogota, which hired mimes to insult and make fun of anyone who broke traffic laws.
Okay, mimes like how? Like people miming on the road?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's a very funny thing to think about, but I'm guessing...
Which city is this? Bogota
in Colombia.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll look that up. That sounds really interesting.
It does. I'm guessing it'll be really fun to watch.
It reminds me of street plays in India, right?
Yeah. But then in this case, the joke is on you because it's very interesting. It's like a very funny thing to watch. Yeah. And I'm guessing it's not very funny if basically you are the one who it's been done to.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's also this other city, Lisbon, which apparently installed quote unquote dancing traffic lights.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So while you wait, you could dance behind a screen, and your dancing posture would be translated onto the traffic light. The red one, of course. So basically, everyone who is waiting by the road could see you dance while they wait.
Oh, like a flash mob. They actually,
sort of,
are they like picking up from real life examples? It's very interesting, though. I mean,
real life. I mean, was this tried?
No,
somewhere?
as like miming and like a flash mob.
Innovation, I mean, like innovation works that way, right? I mean, like part of it is always reinvention.
Right.
So it's very interesting, and also, I mean, if you talk about what a country is doing, in the East European country of Estonia, so they tried this thought experiment. So instead of finding anyone who broke the law, they instead forced them to wait by the side of the road for about an hour or so.
Okay.
So basically, instead of imposing a financial fine, they imposed a time fine to see if that would be a greater disincentive on them from breaking the law in the future.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. I mean, I think again, this is just playing on the concept of behavioral economics, right? I mean, just a nudge for people to not break. I mean,
also because time is in the end money, and in a way, time is even more worth than actual money in some ways.
Yes, it is, right? Time is money, and I think time is also, I mean, just picking up from there, I think time also becomes a constraint many times. All of us would really want to be like a Greta Thunberg and go and make a change out there, like actually do something on field. But I mean, just
yes, how dare you?
But yeah, how dare you? Okay, but a lot of us are just constrained because of the time. I mean, we have offices, families, and all of that.
Yeah.
But what if, Sudhanva, what if I tell you that there's a very innovative way on how you can be like just resting on your couch, but even then making a change?
You mean like donating to a cause or something like that?
Yes. So there's this, I don't know if you've heard of this, but there's a new search engine round the block called Ecosia.
Ecosia.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, it's not quite new though. It's been 10 years that it has been in place, but it's recently gained a lot of traction and attention because, of course, I mean, these issues are really making a lot of noise for the right causes these days, right?
What issues do you mean?
Global warming, deforestation, I mean, all
environmental issues,
issues per se,
yeah.
right? So Ecosia was basically the brainchild of a German entrepreneur called Christian Kroll, and the idea is that the search engine, it transforms all of its revenue from ads. I mean, it contributes all the revenues to planting trees.
Okay, so basically every time you search for something on this site, they plant trees.
Yes.
With the money they make.
Yes, right. So, I mean, they claim to have planted about 76 million trees as of
million.
Yes,
My
76
God, nice.
million trees. And they obviously, I mean, it's not as simple as you searching in something and they immediately going out and planting a tree. No, it's not that, right? So they have tie-ups, they have collaborations with these NGOs, which, I mean, the primary focus here is to plant trees in areas where there's like a high return on investment, right? So areas which have a lot of endemic species and which have like
so like I'm guessing particularly in places in Africa.
Oh yes, like places like I mean Madagascar and such. So which have like a fast depleting rate of forest cover and but a lot of endemic species. So once you start planting trees here, the change is it's perceptible very quickly, right? Because I mean it's an area which is already very, very depleted.
Yeah.
Right. So Ecosia, just to speak of the business model of the search engine, it's basically now of all the revenue they get, it's about 30% goes into the operating costs.
You mean in terms of like things like the office and
day-to-day
giving
functioning?
salaries and all that stuff.
Yes, exactly. About 16% goes into marketing, right?
Okay.
That's how we all got to know about the product in the first place. And 10% of it is reinvested, and about 40% of it goes into tree planting. And now, if you don't consider the operating costs, about 80% of all the profits it goes into tree planting, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
That's quite big. I mean, it's also a very noble way of conducting your business.
It is.
It's very nice.
Right. I mean, we all agree that these are all self-published reports, but I mean, it's also the idea. So I was just looking up some videos and just looking at the credibility of the entire project, and it says that it's a B certified organization, which is basically it's certified that it's doing a lot of good to the employees and the society ecology at a whole, right? So I mean, we can just trust there. But so one very interesting fact which I came across while looking up on Ecosia is that so Ecosia's data is powered by Microsoft's Bing, which is the same engine which runs Yahoo Search.
Okay.
Right. So now the primary difference is Google. All of Google's data centers are powered. It's 100% renewable energy powered.
Okay.
Right. But Microsoft's, on the other hand, all data centers are only like about 44% powered by renewable energy.
Okay.
So there's again this debate which comes in, as in you're using a search engine which claims that it'll plant new trees, but it's anyway backed by operator which has about only 44% use of renewable energy. Rest of it is all carbon emission and probably not replenishable energy.
It's not, basically in the end, it's not all black or all white.
It's not. So I mean, Microsoft that way has also promised that it would, it will eventually cut down about 75% of its carbon emission. And with every tree, I think they say about 10 kilograms of carbon dioxide is just, sucked away when...
Sucked in back from the atmosphere.
By every tree which they plant and for every search that you make. So I think it's not too bad. I mean, plus I think if I'm not wrong, Ecosia also has this promise, which is also which is of privacy. I mean, it won't wouldn't share your data with other.
That's a very big added.
Yeah,
benefit.
that's also something which the new search engine DuckDuckGo is also betting on. But
let's just hope that they really keep up to that promise.
Oh yes. Now, Saran, was just considering that we also did this little exercise in office. I remember considering that Ecosia and Google does give you the absolute same search results. Would you opt for Ecosia over Google?
Well, if they promise to give me the absolute same search results with the absolute same accuracy as Google and the absolute same volume as Google, then definitely yes. I mean, I would feel good about myself if I opted for Ecosia.
Right. You know? And who knows, someday we might actually, take a boat and go all the way and be like Greta Thunberg and just make like a powerful speech.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Sounds cool, man.
Yeah, nice. that was a very interesting chat. I learned a lot about green search engines.
Yeah.
And I just hope that, we had a very invigorating talk about how Bangalore is combating traffic violations.
Yes.
In a very unique manner.
Cool. Thank you.
That's all for today, folks. Thank you for listening in. Do subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google. See you soon.